Welcome to Ancestral Wisdom, where the wisdom of the past guides our future. Today, on this brisk morning, with all the layers that I have on at the moment, we're going to be talking about a rune which represents the opposite force, the force of heat and warmth and the sun. And that rune is, there it is, Sowilo. When you see that rune, you'll see the shape of an S, and you can remember the meaning of this rune because and S is the first letter in the word sun. And so that's one very easy way for you to remember this rune. But there's another very important meaning to the shape that I'd like you to consider, and that is this. Um, it's a representation of a lightning bolt, a lightning bolt coming and striking the earth. And well, why is that? Why would lightning be associated with the sun other than the fact that they both contain light and energy? Well, the lightning was thought to bring the energy of the sun down to the earth. Think of when a bolt of lightning hits a forest with a lot of dead, dry wood, the forest fire is a mirror image of the force of the sun. You have heat, you have light, you have energy, and that's exactly what you have on the surface of the sun. So the lightning bolt was thought to have brought the energy of the sun down onto the earth. Now that might seem a little strange, but the truth is it's very scientifically sound as well. Because as the tree, well, the lightning hit the wood and then the wood caught fire. Well, why is there energy stored in the wood? There's energy stored in the wood because when the tree was originally growing, the leaves were drawing in literally the energy of the sun and converting that energy to a form that the tree could use to build itself. So the energy that's locked in the dead wood is energy that came from the sun. So the lightning is literally releasing the sun's energy here on this planet. So it's not so strange when you think of it that way. And we can think of that in terms of our our lives as well and the energy that resides inside of us. Where is the energy which is allowing me to speak right now coming from? It's coming from the sun. And I don't just mean in a direct line because, well, the sun sets our internal clock and it wakes me up and maybe allows me to produce vitamin D. No, I mean, all of the food that I've ever consumed in my entire life derived its energy from the sun. Whether it's the plant life that I consumed, which again drew the energy from the sun in order to be able to transfer it into a different form, which I would be able to use for sustenance. But any meat or protein source that I've ever consumed derived its energy from the plant life which absorbed the sun's force. So we are all literally embodiments of the sun's energy here on this planet. If you and that's not figurative, it's literal. We might also think that, well, that's not true because we're physical. Okay, maybe we take the sun's energy and we convert it to physical form. But what is physical? If you look inside a molecule, yes, you'll see atoms. And if you look inside well, what do you see when you get down to the smallest possible piece of what it is to be matter? You get pure energy, and that's the basis of quantum physics. Think of the core which makes up the smallest pieces of ourselves as things that you can't really see. In the same way that you can't see a tornado. The only reason you can actually see a tornado coming towards you is because the tornado picked up dirt and dust, and so you could see the dirt and the dust swirling around. But let's just say that there was no dirt or dust. The tornado would be invisible because it's just raw energy. And the same thing is true. At our core, we are raw energy. We're beings of energy. And all of that energy came from the sun. So Sowilo is a symbol of the deep mystery of life stemming from the sun. A few other symbols are very important to consider alongside Sowilo, because Sowilo makes up those symbols. And these symbols have been interpreted in many different ways and many different forms over the years. But it's important for us to consider the deep meaning behind these symbols that's thousands and thousands of years old. So let's see if I can. So you have Sowilo. Where's my finger? There it is. And now if you take two of these runes and you cross them and you give them a central axis, you have a swastika. This is essentially just two S runes joined. And the S rune also creates the what they call the sun wheel, because if you have a little bit of a curve on each side of the S, and then you join all of those S's, you essentially create a disc which embodies the meaning and power of the rune. That's one reason why the swastika is often seen as a way to channel dynamic energy and will, because the force of the sun is dynamic energy, and it gives us the energy to will things into creation. Um, it's not just like Raido, which is the wheels of the sun, which guides the sun, which creates the pattern of right. Sowilo is the raw energy of the sun itself. Not only does the sun give us our physical energy, but of course, it gives us our mental and spiritual energy as well, which is another reason why Sowilo is seen as the ruin to call upon when exercising your spiritual will in this world. If you find your spiritual will is waning, Sowilo and the meditation and magic that you can use and work with Sowilo can help to, I want to say figuratively, but maybe not so figuratively, stoke the fires of spirit and will within you. I'd like you, every moment that you're alive, to realize that the life that you have within you is not mundane, it's not ordinary, it's not something that we can bring down to a level of baseness by analyzing it scientifically. Because if you delve as deep into science as you possibly can, life becomes even more miraculous than the ancient peoples could have possibly imagined. For a long time, science prevented us from seeing the magic in the world. Science killed the rainbow is a famous saying. By understanding what's in a molecule, we lost some of the magic of the miracle of life that is around us. But I would argue that realizing that the entirety of creation and the entirety of your life is a spark of fire given to you by the sun itself is far more miraculous than mundane, surface level science might lead the average schoolboy to consider. You are the embodiment of the energy of the sun. Use that energy Make sure that your own life and your own spirit and your own soul are targeted and focused enough to give that light and spread that light forth as much as you possibly can. Energy flows from one place to another, and energy moves and changes and has power. And you have the power to direct the energy that is within you where you will it to go. You are a small sun, and where you decide to channel your energy, you will create worlds of life and meaning in the same way that the sun's channeled energy towards the earth has created worlds of life and meaning here. You are a microcosm of the sun, and wherever you channel that sun's energy, you will create microcosms there as well. We are creators as the sun is. Call upon the S rune to contemplate your eternal power and to allow yourself, to will yourself to use that power for something that you might be able to call good. And that's Sowilo. Don't be afraid of the other aspects of Sowilo. They're powerful and they're meaningful, and their meaning extends backwards in time thousands of years and more, and will extend forwards in time as well. There's nothing wrong with honoring the symbols which lead us to the magic and realization that we discussed here today. Sowilo, Sowilo, Deus Ansus raido kenas, Yebo wanjo agalas, Audis isa yera, You has perthro elgas, So illotivas, Percano evo manas, Lagus invas degas, O Father.